So imagine if you could have tracks running in Ableton Live, have lyrics going in ProPresenter, and have every lyric cue hit perfectly every single time. Hey, I'm Will Doggett, Ableton Live certified trainer, founder from Studio to Stage. Today I'm going to show you how you can set up Ableton Live to control ProPresenter to make that exact thing happen, again, perfectly every time. So let's get started. Welcome to From Studio to Stage, where every Friday we post a brand new tutorial showing you how to use Ableton Live on stage. Today's tutorial is brought to you by Oyen Digital. If you use your computer to make music, you need a high-performance, rock-solid hard drive, and that's what Oyen Digital does. Their Dura line of hard drives are excellent solutions for live performance. The U32 Shadow's a portable SSD with speeds up to 500 megabytes, low power usage, and a rugged enclosure, which makes it the perfect solution for a portable live performance drive. Because these drives have a USB-C connection, if you're using a brand new MacBook Pro, you can plug directly in your computer without any of those pesky adapters. To get 20% off any Dura hard drive, head to oyendigital.com and use the code DURA20. That's OYEN digital.com and use the code DURA20. Thanks to Oyen Digital for your support of From Studio to Stage. All right, so ProPresenter is a lyric projection software that's primarily used by churches to display lyrics and create lyrics, kind of like Keynote, but at a whole nother level. Super, super great to use. Now, even if you're not using this for a church setting, maybe you're using it with a band, you want to have lyrics that sync up either for a confidence monitor or for the rest of the audience. This is a really, really cool use. Now, what's great about ProPresenter is probably about 8 years ago, I don't know exactly, they released a MIDI module for ProPresenter. And I remember the exact day they did that because I sat in my office at the time and did this video. Hey guys, this is Will Doggett from loopsandworship.com, and I want to show you guys how you can use Ableton Live to control ProPresenter. And then from there, I did a few other videos talking about how to control ProPresenter with Ableton Live. Now being, again, sent via Ethernet to our ProPresenter computer. Again, we could repeat. And the lyrics.
But I'm triggering these words via MIDI. So I'm sending MIDI to Will's computer that has ProPresenter opened up, and it's just telling the words. Will actually set these files up.
And I even released a set of MIDI cues that you could download to load into Ableton Live to control ProPresenter for free. Now that was all ProPresenter 5. Now it's been a few years, we're at ProPresenter 6, so I want to redo the whole thing, show you how to make this happen. So let's talk about what you need to make this happen. One, you need a machine running Ableton Live, could be a Mac or a PC, and then you need a machine running ProPresenter 6. In this case, we could do 5 or 6. In this case, we're doing 6, and it has to be a Mac. And the reason is we also need the MIDI module, and that's part of ProPresenter. That's, I think, a $99 add-on that you can add on after the fact and purchase directly in the program. Now that's only available for Mac. So again, our ProPresenter machine has to be Mac. Now we could also use one machine and run them all in one machine. We'll talk about that briefly here in a second, but the primary focus of today's tutorial is how to run them on 2 separate machines, because that's probably how the majority of you are going to be doing that. So once we have our Ableton machine, ProPresenter machine, have ProPresenter on a Mac with the MIDI module, let's talk about how we can connect it. Now, at the most basic level, we just need to send MIDI from this machine to the other. So if you have an audio interface connected to this machine and have a 5-pin MIDI output, you can just plug a MIDI cable from that audio interface into a MIDI interface or another audio interface that's on your ProPresenter machine and send MIDI completely that way. Now, the downside of that is MIDI can't run over, I believe, 50 feet. That's kind of what it's spec'd at. So if you're going longer than 50 feet, we need another way to do that. And that's where we can talk about using network MIDI, which is built into every Mac computer for free. So the way this works is we just need to connect both of these machines over Ethernet. Now there's 2 ways to do this. One, we could plug an Ethernet cable out of this computer directly into this computer and we're good to go. But again, that's going to be a really, really long Ethernet cable. And if this machine's in a different room or a different place, then we can't just go Ethernet to Ethernet. So what we could do is go Ethernet from this machine into our normal network connection, like a network switch, and then out of that network switch into Ethernet to this machine and get those 2 connected. Now we could also do this wirelessly. I don't suggest that, but it's a great way to test it. And I'll talk about that briefly. But again, primarily we're gonna talk about 2 machines and use the network MIDI connection over Ethernet to make this happen. So let's dig into that and start making those settings. So let's start on our Ableton machine. The first thing I wanna do is open Audio MIDI Setup. Now, audio MIDI setup, again, is included in every Mac and allows us to adjust our MIDI settings and our audio settings. Just a kind of pro tip here, I'm primarily in MIDI settings. So one thing I do every time I get a new machine is I open audio MIDI setup, I go to preferences, which is Command comma, and I do only open specific windows and choose MIDI window. Otherwise, by default, it's set to reopen windows from last session, which is great if I just happen to be in MIDI, but by default, I want to use the MIDI window here. So now I'm going to go into here, double click on network, and what I want to do, you see under my sessions, I want to click that plus button to add a session here. Now that session is going to allow me to send MIDI from this machine to my other machine. Again, only using an Ethernet cable, which is amazing. A few other settings we want to make here. In this portion here, who may connect to me, I want to make sure that this is set to anyone. Now, the other thing that I've seen happen that sometimes causes issues is if there's no bonjour name for your machine showing up in this section. And in this case, there isn't. So I'm going to give it a name. So I'm going to call this from studio to stage 2. Now by default it should be there, but if for some reason it isn't, like mine, we want to make sure we add a name there. Now that we have this set up, let's go to our other machine. Okay, so let's go to our MIDI window here, double click network, and you'll see I previously created a session here and we see that session showing up. Who may connect to me again is set to anyone, and in the directory I see from studio stage 2, which is this machine. And again, just to make sure, I do have a bonjour name for this machine listed right here. So I'm good to go. Now I need to join these computers, connect them to the same network. So the way to do this is super simple. On either machine, and I typically like starting on the tracks machine, just the essence of it makes me feel like this is in charge and this one is synced to that. So I'm gonna do that, but we could do either machine. And I wanna click in directory on the other machine. So in this case, I'm clicking from Studio Stage 1, which is my other computer, my ProPresenter computer, and I'm going to hit connect. Now as soon as I do that, you should see participants showing up in this window. Now if we go back to our other machine, again, this is from Studio Stage 1, my ProPresenter machine, you're going to see participants from Studio Stage 2 showing up in that list. Now that's perfect. Again, we want to make sure that bonjour names for both, make sure who may connect to me is anyone, and a very important thing here is we want to make sure live routings is set to nothing. Now, I've seen people try to route the IEC driver into the network MIDI. That's just making it way too complicated and convoluted for this process. So we just want to use purely network MIDI to make this happen. So you can see both machines are connected, which is great. Now let's make a few settings in Ableton Live to get this set, and then we'll head back over to the ProPresenter machine. All right, so in Ableton Live, I'm going to open our MIDI preferences, and again, it's Command comma to go to preferences. We want to click the Link MIDI tab, and then down here in this section, we have inputs and outputs for MIDI. And what I want to do is I can disable the input because I'm not going to be receiving MIDI from the other machine. I'm just sending MIDI. So I'm only dealing with outputs here. And so all I want to enable is track. Okay, so track is going to allow me to send MIDI from Ableton's tracks to the network, and then the ProPresenter machine is going to receive that. So everything in Ableton Live is set up. We'll come back in a second. We'll talk about how to route a tracks MIDI to network MIDI. But on the Ableton side, everything looks good so far. So let's head back over to ProPresenter. And similar to Ableton, I need to go to preferences to get started. So I'm going to do Command comma. Okay, and then I want to go to the modules tab. Now I'm going to demo the MIDI module for the sake of this video, but again, I think it's 99 bucks to purchase. So I'm going to go down here and hit demo modules. Okay, and then now that I have all the modules available to me, I want to go to communications, and this is where I'm going to deal just with MIDI. So I need to add a device. So I'm going to go down here to MIDI, and you can see all different types of communication modules for ProPresenter. Okay, and I'm going to leave this set to MIDI, just the name. Core MIDI device, behavior device. I've never tweaked with any of that stuff, so I leave it just the way it is. And then sources, I'm going to go ahead and click session 1. Again, that's the name of our audio MIDI network session that we created earlier. So that's all I need. Destinations, I don't want to send MIDI out of ProPresenter, so I'm not messing with that. Reconnect is enabled, and I'm going to hit save. Now, if I need to get back to that, I can hit this gear icon if I ever need to change the source or how I'm receiving MIDI. And then I want to hit connect. Now, if you see the green light show us connected, then we know we're good. So now we have Ableton Live connected to the network MIDI session. and we have ProPresenter receiving MIDI from the network session. So we are almost there. So let me show you one more thing in ProPresenter, and then we'll start laying in cues to trigger our lyric slides. So to get this going, we want to go to MIDI setup. And let me explain really quickly kind of what this is and what it looks like. So you're going to see 4 different sections: clear commands, video controls, presentation actions, and then select by index. The way this works is for the first 3, clear, video controls, and presentation actions, if we send one MIDI note, it's going to trigger that action. So if we send note C#-2, that's going to clear all our slides. If I send note B-2, that's going to go to the next playlist item, right? So those 3, the top 3 commands there are all triggered by sending a single MIDI note. Now for the bottom section here, select by index, we need to do 2 things. One, we need to send a MIDI note. So if I want to select a playlist, I'm going to send note F#-1, but based on the velocity of that note, how hard or soft the note is played depends on what playlist is going to be chosen. So let's say we want to choose playlist 3. Here's how we make that happen right now as everything is set. I want to send F#-1, that's our note, and I want to send velocity 3. And again, ProPresenter is going to see that as, okay, F#-1, he needs to select playlist. Velocity 3, he wants playlist 3. So that's the way that works. Now, if we go back all the way 8 years or whatever it was, when I first created my MIDI cues file for this, I started with note 0 in Ableton Live, which I believe is C-2. So in order to use the cues that you probably got from ProPresenter file 5 that I made from one of those videos, or the new ProPresenter 6 cues, we want to start at note 0. So what we're going to do is go up to the autofill button, hit autofill, and that's going to start at note 0, which again you see is now C-2, and go all the way up to note 27. There's no other reason to do that except for the cues I made just work that way, right? So let's add that in and let's hit OK. So now everything is set up in ProPresenter. I'm going to close this window. Now we need to just go into Ableton Live and start to lay in some cues. So back over on my Ableton machine, what I'm going to do just to show you how this works is create a MIDI track. And first, let's make sure we route our MIDI properly. So I want to go here to my MIDI output for that specific track. It's set to no output. I want to change that to network session 1. Now, one note, at the time of this video, ProPresenter sees MIDI on all channels. So we can have 16 different MIDI channels on one MIDI connection. But the way ProPresenter works right now is it's going to see MIDI on every single one of those channels. So I'm just going to leave it set to channel 1 for now. So our MIDI track is set up and ready to go. And let's just test this out, okay? So I'm gonna name this ProPresenter Cues, and let's go back into session view to do this really quickly. I'm gonna double click to create a clip, and then let's go to ProPresenter, and I'm gonna choose a slide here, and let's make this full screen, just so you can see this. And the clip I wanna create is a clear all command. And again, if you remember in that ProPresenter window, clear all should be note 0, which is C-2. So the way I'm gonna do this, I double click to create a clip, I'm going to go down to the note editor and C-2, that's my bottom note. So I'm going to double click, drag that note. I like making it one measure just so I see that it fills the note, fills the entire MIDI clip there. Okay, so I've got that note going. And now if I trigger this note, if everything's working properly, here's what should happen. That MIDI note should go out of the track into the network MIDI session, out of network MIDI session into Ableton Live and clear this slide, into ProPresenter and clear the slide. So let's see if that works. Okay, and we trigger it and you see that slide disappears. So before you go really in depth with programming, it's good to do that test to make sure everything is working. And in this case, it is. So now to make this work a lot faster, instead of creating each individual clip. So what we would do is we would have to go in and create that clip and then change the velocity for every single note, right? So in Ableton Live, if we were doing that, we could create our MIDI note and then move our velocity up or down, hold command to get kind of fine-tuned there. But that just takes forever, so we don't want to do that. So what I did to speed up this process, and this takes us into the programming in Ableton Live portion of this, is I have a MIDI cues file. Again, I made this for 5, and this is also available for 6. And if you want to get access to this file, make sure you tap, click, or swipe on this video, and you can see how you can get access to that. So I want to add a few commands in here, and all these commands are MIDI clips preset with notes and velocities as needed. So one, I'm going to take a clear command and do clear all, and I want to make sure at the very end of my song, so you see the out slide there, I'm going to drop that in so that that's clear. Okay, so there's my clear command. I also like keeping each of my commands in separate tracks so that I can really quickly see and troubleshoot if something's going wrong. I go exactly to the clear commands track so that I know that that's the one I'm working with. Okay, and then let's go to select playlist. So in this case, I'm going to select playlist 1, and we'll do a couple different playlists so you can see how this works. So let's do playlist 1. Again, I'm going to drop it in a separate track. Okay, and then I want to do playlist item, and this is just whatever song in that playlist. So let's do song 2. Okay, let's drop that there. And again, I'm going to separate these clips so that they're not all happening at the same time. And I could just nudge them over slightly. Okay, and then let's trigger a few slides. So let's do slide 1, and I'm going to put all the slide cues and commands on the same track. Now, before we press play and try all this, here's what we need to do. I need to make sure the routing for all my tracks is routed to network MIDI sessions. Remember, we created that. That's where MIDI is getting into ProPresenter. So what I'm going to do is select all these tracks, hold Shift, go to MIDI 2, and set them all to be network session 1. So with all this set, everything should be good to go. And so when I press play, we should see ProPresenter pull up, what did we do? Playlist 1, song, I believe 3 is what we did, song 2, and then slide 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to press play and let's see what happens. Okay, so we have slide 1, and you see it says song 2, slide 1. I made this really simple to follow. Slide 2, and then here comes slide 3 right now. Okay, so just to show you how easy it is to swap this out, let's just change the playlist item cue here from song 2 to song 3. And again, playlist item is just song in the playlist. And just to make it more interesting, let's change the playlist to playlist 3. Okay. Before I hit play, let me show you what that looks like in ProPresenter. So just the way I have this set up, again, 3 playlists, 3 songs in each playlist, and each one of those is named so that we know song 1 and all that. Now let me stay in this mode so you can see this happen. So since we're going to playlist 3, I'm going to select 1 and clear all, so we start with a blank slate, and let's watch what happens. So press play, see playlist 3 come up, song 3, and here come our slides, 1, 2, in a second, there we go, 2, and 3 coming up right now. So what's really cool about this is you can lay in all your MIDI cues so that they're perfectly on time, perfectly in sync, and do the work once. You never have to do it again. Save it with that file, and then as you build your set, it's going to sync up with ProPresenter automatically. A couple quick points on this. If you're doing this, and there's basically 2 ways to think of this in ProPresenter. One is like I have here with 3 different playlists, right? Those could be different sets that you have coming up. If you're doing this for church service, they could be different weekend services that are coming up. If I'm doing it this way, then I'm going to program the song, and the song's going to always stay the same. The only thing that's going to change are those first 2 cues in the beginning, my playlist cue and then my item cue. So I would want to swap those out if I'm changing, the same song but in a different playlist, different set list for that set. Super easy. Now, one final thing before we wrap up. What if you're doing this on the same machine? What if I want to program cues on Ableton on the same machine that ProPresenter's on? That's where the IEC driver comes in handy. Now, I'm not going to show you how to set that up. Make sure to check out our video on setting up and using the IEC driver to see how. But I'm just going to show you quickly in Ableton Live on this machine how that can work. So I'm going to do the same thing we did on that machine, add a clear all command here at the end of the track. And then I'm just going to add a few cues quickly. Let's do playlist 1. Let's go back to playlist 1. Let's do song 2. And again, that's our select playlist item cue. And that's new for, or the playlist cue is new for ProPresenter 6, which is awesome. And 5, you could only use 1 playlist. So that's really, really great. And that's why if you download the ProPresenter 5 cues and tried them in 6, it got a little weird. So using the new cues is super easy. And I'm going to drop these slide cues in. And again, I could change the grid if I wanted to so they sync up perfectly. But we got these in, and let's change our routing. Now in this situation, I'm not going to route to network. I'm going to go in and route to IEC driver. Okay. ProPresenter, the only change I make, go back to preferences. I'm going to disconnect, hit our settings. As a source, I want to enable bus 1. Okay, and then reconnect. Again, I don't like mixing IAC driver with network. I like keeping those two separate. And this is really beneficial if you are programming on one machine and then showing up to the gig and using them separately. Or if you're just using one machine in general, this is when we use IAC driver. And again, to know how to set that up, make sure to check out our IAC driver video series that we have. So, all right, so now I'm gonna press play and let's jump into ProPresenter so you can see that happen. And just to make sure you see it's happening, let's go to a different playlist and we'll clear it all. So I'm gonna press play, jump into ProPresenter. You see playlist 1 is selected. Again, same thing, song 2, and then it's gonna trigger all our slides. Song 1, slide 2 coming up, and then eventually slide 3. There we go. So you can see it's super simple to get your lyrics perfectly in sync when you're using Ableton Live and ProPresenter. There's nothing better for doing this than ProPresenter, especially ProPresenter 6. So again, we can do it on 2 separate machines or on a single machine using the IAC driver, or 2 separate machines using only network MIDI. Super easy. Now, if you want to learn how to do more with ProPresenter, including how to create a redundant setup with 2 machines, so if one goes down, ProPresenter lyrics keep going, then make sure to head to FromStudioStage.com where you can start a free trial to try out every course that we have, get access to the community of like-minded performers that we have, as well as a monthly private call just for subscribers. So thank you so much for watching. Take care.